When Trump threw the phrase, "Canada only survives thanks to the United States," in Mark Carney's face, many heard rudeness. A geopolitical analyst, however, hears an ultimatum. Not a diplomatic gaffe, not a personality flaw, an ultimatum. The kind that redefines the relationship between a suzerain and a vassal. The kind that, once spoken publicly, cannot be unspoken. Let me explain what this means and why Beijing is quietly celebrating. Welcome back to Economic Empires. I'm Lucy Farial, and I've been analyzing markets and economic policy for over a decade. No spin, no bias, just the hard data and the truth most analysts won't tell you. Welcome to the Davos 2026 analysis. January 2026. Davos, Switzerland, the World Economic Forum's 56th annual meeting. The official theme this year is Collaboration for the Intelligent Age, but the corridors tell a different story. The whispered conversations among bankers, defense ministers, and intelligence chiefs all circle around one question: what just happened to the West? We are witnessing a paradox that will define the next decade of global politics. Donald Trump has returned to the Alps not merely as president, but as a victor. He has brought with him the blueprints for an economic renaissance and an impenetrable shield. The American economy is expanding. Energy production has shattered records, and a $500 billion missile defense system, the Golden Dome, promises to make the continental United States nearly invulnerable to nuclear attack. By any conventional metric, this is triumph. But behind closed doors, in the smoke-free lounges where the real conversations happen, analysts are whispering about one thing. This is a Pyrrhic victory. America is building a fortress, but burning every bridge that leads to it. And while Washington celebrates its tactical success, Beijing is preparing to seize everything that remains outside the fortress walls. What we witnessed at Davos 2026 was not a speech, it was a funeral. The funeral of diplomatic etiquette, the funeral of the transatlantic partnership, the end of the illusion of a partnership of equals between America and its allies. Trump is publicly transforming relations with his closest friends into a suzerain-vassal format. He is doing this consciously, deliberately, and in plain view of the entire world. For China, this is a gift wrapped in golden paper. This statement confirms Beijing's narrative for the global South. Look, they say, America has no friends, only servants. We offer an alternative. This undermines Western unity more effectively than any Chinese investment in African ports, more effectively than any Belt and Road loan, more effectively than any propaganda campaign. America did it to itself, in public, on camera. Let us examine piece by piece what this means for the architecture of global power. Chapter 1. Decoding the Canadian Ultimatum. Pull back from Davos. Look at the map. The United States shares the world's longest undefended border with Canada, 8,891 kilometers. No walls, no checkpoints. The two economies are so intertwined that 75% of Canadian exports flow south, while American supply chains depend on Canadian raw materials, energy, and manufacturing capacity. This is not merely an alliance. This is a single economic organism with two heads. Now understand what Trump said when he declared that Canada lives because of the United States. He was not making a historical observation. He was establishing a new framework. The old framework operated on a simple premise. Security is a right guaranteed by treaty. NATO's Article 5, NORAD's Joint Command, the assumption that an attack on Canada is an attack on America. This was not charity, it was mutual interest. Canada provides strategic depth, early warning systems in the Arctic, secure resource access, a buffer zone that extends American defensive perimeter by thousands of miles. The new framework is different. Security is no longer a right, it is a service that can be withdrawn, a service that comes with conditions, a service that must be paid for, not in money, but in submission. They should be grateful, Trump said. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us. This is the language of patronage, of dependency, of hierarchy. Prime Minister Mark Carney understood this immediately. His speech the day before had already acknowledged the transformation. He used a word that sent shockwaves through the audience: rupture. We are in the midst of a rupture, Carney said, not a transition. A transition implies continuity. A rupture implies something has broken that cannot be repaired. Carney's response was not defiance, it was adaptation. He called for middle powers, Canada, European nations, Japan, Australia, to band together, to stop pretending that the rules-based international order still functions as advertised, to build coalitions that work issue by issue with partners who share enough common ground to act together. Our view is, he said, the middle powers must act together, because if we are not at the table, we are on the menu. Consider what this means from Beijing's perspective. For years, China has been telling the global South that America is not a friend, but a hegemon, that Western talk of partnerships and alliances is merely cover for exploitation, that the international order is rigged to benefit the powerful at the expense of the weak. Trump just confirmed all of this, live, on camera, in the most elite gathering of Western power. He confirmed it not with Chinese propaganda, but with his own words. The unity of the West has cracked, and China did not have to fire a single shot. But there is another dimension to this calculation. The global South watches carefully. Nations in Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America, they remember decades of Western lectures about sovereignty, international law, and the rules-based order. They remember being told that economic coercion is wrong, that territorial integrity is sacred, that alliances are built on mutual respect. Now they see the most powerful Western nation treating its closest neighbor as a dependency. They see tariffs used as weapons against allies. They see threats of economic destruction for diplomatic disagreements. This is ammunition. Every foreign ministry in the developing world is updating its talking points. Every Belt and Road Agreement looks more attractive by comparison. Every Chinese loan that comes without political conditions appears more honest than American friendship that comes with demands of submission. The global South now accounts for most of the world's population, much of its economic dynamism, and a rising share of geopolitical ambition. By 2027, according to the International Monetary Fund, the global South will account for 29% of global GDP, overtaking the G7, with China contributing more than 20%. These nations are no longer passive rule takers. They are active participants and at times agenda setters in debates over trade, technology, security, and global governance. Together, they are redefining the balance of power in the 21st century. And Trump just told them that even America's closest friends are servants, not partners. Chapter 2: The Geometry of Immunity. Decoding the Greenland case. Now look at a different map, the Arctic. Draw the trajectories of intercontinental ballistic missiles from Russia and China toward North American targets. Notice something important. The shortest path crosses the Arctic, over Greenland. This is not real estate, this is physics. Trump called Greenland a big, beautiful piece of ice and demanded access. The media laughed at the real estate developer treating geopolitics like a Manhattan property deal. But there is nothing to laugh about here. The new Golden Dome missile defense system is designed to shoot down hypersonic missiles during the boost phase, the critical first minutes after launch when the rocket's engines are still burning and the weapon is most vulnerable. To do this, interceptors must be positioned directly beneath the flight trajectory, in the Arctic. The Congressional Budget Office estimates the Golden Dome could cost between $161 billion and $542 billion over 2 decades. Bloomberg's analysis puts the figure closer to $1.1 trillion. Trump's own estimate of $175 billion is widely regarded as fantasy. But the system is being built. Congress has already allocated $24.4 billion as an initial down payment. SpaceX is positioned to receive a $2 billion contract for a satellite constellation with up to 600 satellites capable of identifying and tracking air-moving targets. Over 2,000 companies have been awarded spots on the SHIELD contract, the Scalable Homeland Innovative Enterprise Layered Defense, with a ceiling of $151 billion over the next decade. The Golden Dome is not science fiction. It is procurement, and Greenland is essential to its architecture. This is why Trump threatened 10% tariffs on 8 European countries: France, Germany, the United Kingdom, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and the Netherlands, scheduled to increase to 25% by June. This was not a negotiating position. It was an ultimatum. Give up the territory or I will cripple your economy. And Europe blinked. After a meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, Trump announced they had formed the framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland and, in fact, the entire Arctic region. The tariffs were suspended. What does this framework contain? Trump called it the concept of a deal. He said it would be infinite, a deal that lasts forever. He declined to specify whether American ownership was involved, calling it complex. Rutte spoke of collective security in the Arctic, of keeping Russians and Chinese and other adversaries out of a region where sea lanes are opening up more and more. The details remain classified, but the direction is clear. The United States has closed its main vulnerability, nuclear parity, the doctrine that ensured neither superpower could launch a first strike without facing annihilation, is being deliberately undermined. America is attempting to become invulnerable, while its adversaries remain vulnerable. But the price is the status of a blackmailer. NATO is no longer an alliance of volunteers. The member states are not partners. They are hostages of geography. They live within range of Russian missiles, and they depend on American protection. And now they know that protection comes with conditions that can be imposed unilaterally, through economic coercion. An ally who threatens you with a trade war for refusing to sell an island is more dangerous than an enemy. At least with an enemy, you know where you stand. The strategic implications extend beyond Europe. Russia watches the Golden Dome with concern. Moscow's nuclear arsenal, the foundation of its great power status, may soon be obsolete against the American homeland. This creates pressure for a first strike posture, for use it or lose it calculations that make nuclear war more, not less, likely. China watches with equal concern. Beijing's nuclear modernization program was already accelerating. New ICBM silos, hypersonic delivery systems, submarine-launched ballistic missiles. The Golden Dome will accelerate this buildup. Cost exchange ratios favor the offense. It is cheaper to build more missiles than to shoot them down. A missile defense system that costs trillions to build can be overwhelmed by an arsenal that costs billions to expand. The paradox of defense is that it can be destabilizing. When one side believes it is invulnerable, it may be tempted to act more aggressively. When the other side believes its deterrent is being neutralized, it may be tempted to strike before it is too late. This is not theory. This is nuclear strategy. And the Golden Dome is rewriting the equations that have kept the peace for 80 years. Chapter 3, The What War. Decoding the green scam. Split your screen in half. On the left, wind turbines in Germany rotating slowly in the winter wind. Electricity prices have spiked 64%. Manufacturers are relocating production to countries with cheaper energy. The industrial heartland of Europe is hollowing out. On the right, gas flares and nuclear cooling towers in the United States operating at full capacity. Natural gas production has reached all-time records, 108 billion cubic feet per day, matching Russia, Iran, and China combined. Oil production has hit 24.2 million barrels per day, exceeding Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. While Europe debated the ethics of artificial intelligence, Trump was discussing electricity. He called Europe's Green Deal a green new scam. He ridiculed wind turbines as losers that kill the birds. He mocked the continent's energy transition. But beneath the rhetoric is a calculation as cold as any spreadsheet. Artificial intelligence is not code, it is energy. Data centers require gigawatts of power, electricity consumption comparable to entire countries. Meta is building a 5-gigawatt AI data center. Microsoft has signed contracts to purchase power from the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant. Amazon is investing $20 billion in Pennsylvania data center sites, including one adjacent to a nuclear facility. Trump's administration has lifted environmental restrictions and streamlined permitting processes. The AI Action Plan, released in July 2025, created categorical exclusions from environmental impact studies for qualifying data center projects. The Department of Energy has selected federal sites for AI infrastructure development: Idaho National Laboratory, Oak Ridge Reservation, Paducah Gaseous Diffusion Plant, Savannah River Site. His logic is simple. You have Greta Thunberg, we have the energy for computing. In his Davos speech, Trump claimed he could deliver approval for oil and gas plants in 2 weeks, nuclear plants in 3 weeks. This is impossible under existing regulatory frameworks. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission typically requires 4 to 5 years for approvals. But the intent is clear: deregulation as competitive advantage. The dismissal of 270,000 federal workers is not merely a cost-cutting measure. It is a transition of the country into corporate mode. Decisions are made instantly. Objections are overruled. Environmental reviews are bypassed. The United States is winning the power race. Europe, with its expensive green energy, is falling behind technologically. The continent cannot power the AI revolution with wind farms that produce electricity intermittently. It cannot compete with an adversary that has access to unlimited natural gas, a resurgent nuclear program, and a regulatory environment that prioritizes speed over precaution. But China sees an opportunity here. While the United States bets on fossil fuels and nuclear power, Beijing is offering Europe its green transition technologies: solar panels, batteries, electric vehicles, infrastructure that ties European energy systems to Chinese supply chains. The irony is exquisite. America's rejection of green energy creates a vacuum that China is filling. The more Trump mocks wind turbines, the more Europe turns to Beijing for alternatives. The What War has multiple fronts: and winning one battle may mean losing another. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, stood at the Davos podium with an expression that mixed determination with alarm. She spoke of a Nixon moment for Europe, referring to Richard Nixon's 1971 decision to abandon the gold standard, which shocked European allies and forced them to rethink their economic assumptions. The realization: the older brother will no longer come to the rescue. Europe's response is the Rearm Europe plan, 800 billion euros mobilized for defense spending by 2030. The Security Action for Europe instrument provides 150 billion euros in low-cost loans for military investments. The Commission has activated the Stability and Growth Pact's escape clause, allowing member states to increase defense spending without facing EU sanctions. The goal is strategic autonomy, the ability to act independently in matters of defense and security. But let us call things by their proper names. This is panic. The 800 billion euros sounds massive, but divided among 27 member states over 5 years, it becomes modest. The United States defense budget alone exceeds 850 billion annually. Europe cannot replace American military support with this funding. Europe remains dependent on American defense technology. 80% of European military procurement comes from imports, primarily from the United States. Fighter jets like the F-16 and F-35, reconnaissance radars, logistics systems, ballistic missile defense, and of course, the nuclear umbrella protecting 100,000 American troops stationed in allied countries. The Rearm Europe plan is not a game changer. It is a desperate attempt to reduce dependency while acknowledging that dependency cannot be eliminated. Canada and the Middle Powers are seeking a third way, alliances that exclude both the United States and China, trade diversification, new partnerships with India, whose year-over-year growth exceeds 7%, negotiations with the European Union, a dense web of connections that provides alternatives when the primary relationship fails. Prime Minister Carney left Davos without meeting Trump. He is heading to India to negotiate a trade deal launching in February. He is resetting relations with China after years of diplomatic freeze. The message is clear: Canada will not put all its eggs in one basket. Neither will Europe. Trump has achieved his stated goal. Europe will start paying more for its defense. Allies will increase their contributions. The burden will be shared. But Europe will also begin de-risking from America itself. The irony is bitter. Europe has already paid the price for abandoning Russian energy sources after the invasion of Ukraine. It turned to American liquefied natural gas, becoming more dependent on the United States after the redistribution of markets. Now that dependency is being weaponized against them. An ally who threatens tariffs for refusing to surrender territory. An ally who demands economic submission in exchange for security. An ally who mocks your values publicly while demanding loyalty privately. This is not partnership, this is extraction. A Pyrrhic victory. What do we have in the end? Let us examine the ledger. On the asset side, Donald Trump has brought a tactical victory to Washington. The American economy is growing thanks to deregulation. Oil production is at record levels. Gas prices are at 4-year lows. The Golden Dome promises to make the continental United States nearly invulnerable to missile attack. Allies are being forced to pay more for their defense. Greenland access has been secured through economic coercion. From the perspective of resources and logistics, this is a triumph. But now examine the liability side. The United States has become a lonely island. Fortress America is impregnable, but it is surrounded by a hostile world. By destroying transatlantic unity, Trump has given China what Beijing could not achieve for decades: a Europe seeking alternatives and a global South convinced of the West's predatory nature. The Belt and Road Initiative now reaches 150 countries, accounting for nearly 75% of the world's population and over half of global GDP. China positions itself as a partner that respects sovereignty, offers development without political strings, and provides an alternative to American domination. The West's retreat from global engagement, the shutdown of U.S. aid, the cuts to aid budgets, the prioritization of hard power over soft power, has created a vacuum that China is filling methodically. A recent survey by the Alliance of Democracies Foundation shows that, for the first time, global perceptions of the United States have fallen below those of China. Favorability toward Beijing has risen. Washington's has declined. Trump's unpredictability and disdain for rules and norms boost China's influence. American bullying to curb Chinese engagement in the non-Western world backfires. Threats of tariffs against BRICS countries reinforce those countries' desire for diversified relations. Brazil's chief advisor to President Lula responded to Trump's tariff threats with remarkable candor. These threats are reinforcing our relations with BRICS because we want diversified relations and not depend on any one country. This is the paradox of the fortress. The more impregnable you make the walls, the more you isolate yourself from the world outside. The more you coerce your allies, the more they seek alternatives. The more you demonstrate that you have no friends, only servants, the more the servants plot their escape. The West as a political entity is dying. In its place is a lonely American hegemon, rich, powerful, and isolated, and a fractured world organizing itself around alternatives to American dominance. While the United States locks the gate, Beijing is free to organize the rest of the world against the fortress. We are entering an era of a fragmented world. The rules-based international order that shaped global politics since the end of World War II is not coming back. Nostalgia is not a strategy. And in this fragmented world, America will be the strongest, the richest, and the loneliest country on the planet. This is the fortress trap. Tactical triumph, strategic suicide. The fortress metaphor is not accidental. Throughout history, fortress states have achieved remarkable short-term security. They have built walls that seem impregnable. They have created economic systems that seem self-sufficient. They have convinced themselves that they need no one. And then the world moved on. The Soviet Union built a fortress of ideology. It collapsed when the world it was designed to dominate ceased to care. The Japanese Empire built a fortress of military power. It was starved of resources by a world that refused to trade. The British Empire built a fortress of naval supremacy. It was bankrupted by 2 wars it won but could not afford. America's fortress is different in details, but not in essence. It is built on energy dominance, technological supremacy, military invulnerability, and the assumption that the rest of the world has no choice but to comply. But the rest of the world always has choices. China offers one alternative, a development model built on infrastructure investment rather than ideological alignment, loans without political conditions, partnerships that, whatever their flaws, do not require submission. The Global South offers another alternative, a loose coalition of nations tired of being pawns in great power games, a market of 8 billion people who increasingly determine where capital flows, where technology develops, where the future is being built. Europe, even weakened and dependent, offers yet another alternative, a model of cooperation rather than coercion, rules rather than power, multilateralism rather than unilateralism. America can be the strongest, the richest, the most technologically advanced, but if it is also the most isolated, if its allies are vassals and its partnerships are transactions, then strength becomes a prison. The walls of the fortress keep enemies out, but they also keep the fortress in. This is the lesson Davos 2026 is teaching. This is the reality that the next decade will reveal. This is the world Trump is building, one ultimatum at a time. Welcome to reality. Don't forget to share what I missed in the analysis in the comments.